Let's see if this thing works.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
How many did you get?
The answer is 13.
13, good, good.
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Well, we'll try one more time.
Go!
Now, what does this possibly have to do with college admissions? Where we place our attention often determines our experience. And I think a lot of us today, especially teenagers today, feel that they are stuck in this paradigm, that they don't really have this choice, where it's all about keeping score, kind of like in the video, right? It's who has the highest grades, who has the highest SAT or ACT score, and then it's how high can I push those grades and scores, and then what is the highest ranked college that I can possibly get into? And everyone feels stuck in that process and stuck with those limited choices there. And what I want to convey to each and every student here today, and to the parents as well, that you do have a choice, absolutely. There are different ways we can look at this. And what I want to refer to this other method as, I want to talk about it as the moonwalking bear. Who am I? Where is it I want to go in life? Who do I want to become? How do I want to affect the world? And then we start to look at, okay, what colleges would help me do that? What colleges would help further me along that path? And then maybe what grades and scores would I need to get into those colleges? But those grades and scores should be really the last piece of it. And I think this admissions process is this opportunity to look inside, be introspective, think about where you've come from, where you're at, and where you want to go. And rather than it being this pressure cooker, stressful, awful experience, as several NCL moms were describing it to me this morning that have been through it, it really can be a process that a lot of good comes out of. And I don't want to say that it's not going to be stressful, because it will be, and that there won't be pressure, because there will. But if we shift our perspective just slightly, it can be a lot more than that. This one is for the parents. So this came from some really bright psychologists. They were family therapists, and they discovered a little trick here when going into difficult conversations, especially with teenagers. So for all you moms out there, before you're going to go have this difficult conversation with your daughter, and there will be several of them in this college admissions process, of course, take a moment by yourself, close your eyes, and try to picture your daughter when she was 3 years old, when she was that age. Just take a breath, think about it when you were the center of her world. Then go have that conversation with your daughter. And I cannot believe, after having shared this with parents at high schools all over the country now, how often I hear back by email that how well this works. And they say, I thought this was going to be this horrible conversation, but it just changed the way I guess I entered the conversation, and it wasn't nearly as confrontational as it usually is, or as I thought it would be. And this is a really wonderful trick, and part of it is that that age, it just gets seared into the brain as a mom. It's that critical time, and it'll change the way you approach that conversation. That one belongs to me, by the way. She's 9 now, but she'll always be 3 to me. Okay, now this one is for the students, and this I go off of just what I hear, feedback that I hear from when I sit down with families after they've gone through either the test prep process or the college admissions process. And a lot of them seems to be today, they have this idea of success versus failure, right? And failure's dark and awful and it's horrible, or I succeeded and I won and I'm great, I'm a winner. What I would like to say is we could change that, the way we look at that, our frame of reference on that a little bit, that maybe it's something a little bit more like this, that rather than success and failure being opposites, that failure is just a part of success. It's a piece of the process. I mean, I know for a fact that anybody who's going to speak on this stage today, if you are a competitive athlete, if you have written a book, if you've started a business, you screwed up a lot. There have been a lot of failures along the way. It is all about how you respond to those failures, the context you put them in. And I know for students today, a lot of it is this pressure now to feel like you need to be perfect, to feel like you need to be a big success at a much earlier age, and a lot of that is tied to the pressure of the college admissions process, to have perfect scores, perfect grades, perfect friends, be on the perfect club baseball or soccer team, have perfect hair all the time. What I would like to say is that you don't need to do that at all. Think of this failure as just part of where you're eventually going to get. And to tie it back to college admissions, the best essay I have read as a personal statement to colleges in the last several years came from this student who was seemingly quote unquote perfect, quote unquote a huge success as a high school student. But this essay she wrote was all about cursing. And as soon as she told me that, I said, well, I have to read this. Let's see this. And she, in the essay, she reveals that she's not a very strong writer. In fact, she thinks she's a really weak writer. And what she does to improve her writing is she'll write her paper, which is always horrible, and then she locks herself in the room and curses at her laptop about the bleep paper and how bad it is, and somehow that focuses her mind, and then she goes and rewrites it, and she can then get her good grades. And now this is a kid, right? And usually with our personal statements that we're sending to colleges, we're just trying to put ourselves in the best possible light and show how perfect we are, how successful we are. And here was a kid who did the reverse and who was vulnerable and was raw in the way she wrote it, and her voice just came shining through in this essay. And she wasn't afraid to tell them that she was not a naturally perfect writer. She was embracing that failure. And what they saw there, what I instantly saw, and I knew admissions officers would too, is a kid who would respond well to failures and turn that into successes. To be clear though, I'm not telling all of you to write essays about cursing. Just don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to show them some of your blemishes when you go through that process. We're gonna do something all together. You guys up for that? Okay. Yeah. Let's try it. Okay. We're all gonna answer these questions together, all at the same time. So far, so good? Okay, so first question, what color is a polar bear? Okay, nice. Good, you got that one right. What color is snow? Oh, you guys are on fire. All right. What color is sugar? Good. And then, real quick, what do cows drink? Think about it. Yeah. And this experiment, I know, more than half of respondents say water if you just ask them what cows drink. But if you make somebody say white 3 times in a row and then ask them, more than 80% of respondents say milk. And you may catch yourself or somebody says it right afterwards, but it goes to show how if we shift our frame of reference just a little bit, it really does affect us. And this next little video, it's only a minute long, digs into that a little bit further and how you can use some of that in anxiety-filled situations and pressure situations. I'm pretty sure it's going to start as soon as I click this button, so let's see what happens.
Instead, you might want to try saying 3 little words to yourself. I am excited.
In these studies, we had people say, I'm excited. And when people said that, when they reappraised their anxiety as excitement, they actually gave better public speeches, they sang better in our karaoke lounge, and they did better on math tasks.
It sounds too simple to be true, but what you're really doing is getting yourself out of a threat mindset where you're focused on all the things that could go wrong and into an opportunity mindset where you're thinking about all the good things that could happen if you do well. They weren't actually less anxious, right? They just did better.
That's right. So anxiety, the arousal stays high, and you stay in that high arousal state and just flip from negative to positive, from anxiety to excitement.
The reason is anxiety and excitement have a lot more in common than you might think. They're both aroused emotions. In both, The heart beats faster, cortisol surges, and the body prepares for action. It's much easier to get from anxiety to excitement than it is from anxiety to calm. In Brooks' study, after saying, "I'm excited," people sang 17% better, were 17% more persuasive at speaking, and did 22% better on a math test than people who said nothing or tried to remain calm.
All right, so just a couple of quick things I want to highlight from that video. The first one was how they said that it's easier to get from anxiety to excitement. And for all the parents out there, whenever somebody says, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling nervous, our first instinct is usually what? Calm down. Try to calm down. I'm pretty sure it's never actually ever worked in the history of the world one time where someone actually calmed down just from somebody telling them that. What usually happens is they become more anxious because they're unable to calm down. So they took random participants like this, got them in front of a room full of people, and then they would just pull them up one at a time. Let's have this nice woman in the hat there. What's your name? Melinda. So they say, "Hey, Melinda, here's your song. You're going to come up here and sing this song in front of all these people." You don't actually have to come sing. Don't worry. Don't worry, Melinda. We're not gonna wreck your Saturday here. But they knew that would be anxiety producing for most people, so they had them sing in front of strangers. And they had two groups, so we just said this half of the room, they just had them come up and sing. And then this half of the room, when they did it, they made them just beforehand say, "I'm excited to sing in front of all of you," and then they sang. They measured with software the singers by octave, tone, and pitch, so this was not subjective, and saw a 17% improvement in their ability to sing in front of a bunch of strangers. So, and I was really skeptical of this research when I first read it. It really does work, and when it comes to these standardized tests, when it comes to all the pressure situations you find yourself in high school, what will really ram this thing home is write down on a piece of paper all the things that could go well as a result of doing well in whatever that pressure situation is. Which is, I think, the most difficult part of the admissions process is when you're getting the letters back from the colleges and getting rejected by some of them, because it feels personal. It's definitely not at all, but it feels personal. And these two parents decided to take that situation, which is just tough no matter which way you look at it, and flipped it. They said, "We're going to look at this a different way. We're going to turn this into an opportunity to bond with our daughter." And they wrote her their own letter that she received right before she got her acceptances and rejection letters from different colleges. And I just want to share this with as many people as I possibly can and encourage parents to do this all over the place, because I just think it's a wonderful idea. So I'm just going to share this letter, and then my time will be up. "Dear Sarah, on the night before you received your first college response, we wanted to let you know that we could not be any prouder of you than we are today. Whether or not you get accepted does not determine how proud we are of everything you have accomplished and the wonderful person you have become. That will not change based on what admissions officers decide about your future. We will celebrate with joy wherever you get accepted, and the happier you are with those responses, the happier we will be. But your worth as a person, a student, and our daughter is not diminished or influenced in the least by what these colleges have decided. If it does not go your way, you'll take a different route to get where you want. There is not a single college in this country that would not be lucky to have you, and you are capable of succeeding at any of them. We love you as deep as the ocean, as high as the sky, all the way around the world and back again, and to wherever you are headed. Love, Mom and Dad."